has been making its way around the internet all week, and I wanted to cover it, but I had more important things to do and talk about. But now, Tim Pool decided to do a video on the topic, and seeing how aping videos has been, somewhat successful for me, I'm gonna do that with this one right here. Woman married to perfect feminist man wishes he would cheat on her. I'm so bored. Now, the first time I heard this story, I couldn't help but think of this Boondocks episode where Tom thought his wife was cheating on him with Usher. So they enlist a pimp named Slickback to to help work with Tom. And then they're in the car. And Tom's like, "You're going to help me win her back?" He was like, "Hell no, I'm going to help you make her act right. If she want excitement, she could take her ass to the movies." Oh man, that wasn't me trying the voice either. But yeah, so this is a really interesting story, and Tim's commentary on it is something that I really want to get into, because I see Tim Pool as a little brother figure. I believe I'm a few years older than him, and he really is one of the nicest, most milquetoast guys who tries to be even keeled all the time. But when it comes to a lot of the information, just generally as Americans, we've been absorbing over the last 30, 40 years, we've kind of stepped away from a lot of things. So let's let Tim get into it, and then I'm going to drop on in.
They say a female journalist complained in an op-ed last week that her selfless and attentive husband leaves her so bored, she wishes he would cheat on her. Writing for The Sun, Claire O'Reilly, 40, said she calls her spouse, John, Mr. Perfect. She described him as the stuff of feminist co-parenting dreams. "If I told him on Friday I was spending Saturday chilling at a spa, he'd probably drop me there so I didn't have to drive. Then take the kids to their clubs before making sure the house was tidy." O'Reilly hinted that in her English household, stereotypical gender roles are flipped. "Just last week, he went out with a friend for a long, planned pint, and I was in a foul mood before he went because I had to put the washing away and make the kids packed lunches," she said, suggesting her husband usually handles such domestic tasks.
Now, gender. If you've never seen a video of mine, my thoughts on gender is that it's not a real thing. It literally only exists to subvert biological sex. So gender is just the thought and idea that you could be something that you're not, and it completely splits apart from reality. When I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, all the government paperwork, everything that I signed always had the term sex, M or F, and we kept it pushing, right? It wasn't until I think like the Clinton administration, that term changed to gender. And that's one of the real subtle tactics used to, sink a thought into our subconscious and to make us believe that gender science is legitimate, when in all reality, it's not. It really, to be generous, I'd say there needs to be a lot more testing done. But looking with my very skeptical eye, this was put in place to do nothing but create chaos within just us as individuals, but society as a whole. And so you have women like this who end up with guys who are everything that they sit there and pretend to claim to want. And yet she's unfulfilled and she feels bored, and her gender role, and they usually have like reverse gender roles and all this other stuff. But in reality, as men, when you break it down to biology, we're two different things. We are two different, completely different beings. Our brains operate and work differently, And so women, just female nature is discontent. Not all, no Walt, all that fun stuff, hashtag it. But in general, on average, discontent really isn't her forte. Her contentment comes in the family, whereas a man's contentment comes in providing for that family. We're supposed to be symbiotic. We're supposed to work together. But this idea that men and women are equals, and the idea that any two people are equals is just it's dead at the first ounce of scrutiny, because you're not going to treat Kelly Rowland the same way you do Beyonce, right? You ain't wilding out for a Kelly Rowland concert ticket. Why not? Because she ain't Beyonce. They're not equals, and that that inequality exists within every stream, within every facet.
Kind of. You're being a little hyperbolic here, Mr. Pluralist, but we get the point. What this really is about, I think it's fair to say, remove the assumptions about feminism. We have a woman who has split gender roles, and that's fine. I'm not someone who's super hardcore into traditionalism, right? So if a guy wants to do the dishes, I really don't care. And I actually think it's really important that fathers do some of this work and set a good example for their kids.
So, the father's role, like do not take me to heart on this, but generally speaking, the father's role is to provide and protect. The mom's role is to, father's role is nature, mom's role is nurture, right? So when you sit there and you play this gender game where, oh my goodness, well, men and women, they're the exact same thing. We're completely interchangeable. This is how you end up with all these unhappy, dissatisfied women. For all the freedoms and liberties that, women have, because in 2019, there's nothing stopping sis from doing anything she wants. Not a single, she is encouraged from whether or not she wants to be a single mom and don't need no man, to whether or not she wants to be an engineer / single mom and not need no man. There is absolutely no shortage of government programs and assistance out there for her. So to pretend as if we live in this world where, women are also oppressed and everything else like that. No. And when it comes to, they like, I think I brought this up in the Zac Efron video. Somebody has to think of doing things first before anyone else does it. So if it's traditionally whatever, like a white person or Asian people or black white people or white people that did something, then that's because it's something they thought of, so to be the first black to do it or anything else like that, it's at this point in time in history, it really does ring hollow because the opportunities have been here, at least the last 30 years.
So this doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, make it overtly feminist, but what we are seeing is a woman who is upset that she's doing, flip gender role stuff and how she's bored by it. But let's read on, and then we'll go on to the actual, other anecdotes. She says, John's ridiculous moral compass has come to be a bone of contention. Don't get me wrong. I love him, and this year we celebrated 17 years together, 13 married. But I'd wish he'd lie, cheat, defame, or slander just once, so that I could feel better about my own less than perfect character.
Yeah, so I've been with quite a few women in my day. We're not going to put a number there. But the amount of times where I have been actively encouraged in the act of intimacy, I guess we'll call it, to be rather disrespectful and even choking, then yeah, there's a certain level of, nastiness that chicks like to participate in. Not all, of course, not all. I mean, I am being purely anecdotal here myself, but they kind of yearn to be led. They kind of yearn to be, how do I put it? Society has told our women that they have the capacity and the ability to lead the ship, to steer the ship, and things will be fantastic. Unfortunately, they don't want to steer the ship. Now, they've been boosted up by the girls and our governments to make them believe, oh yeah, well, this is what you have to do. They've been systematically removing the mother and the traditional nuclear mother as a fine destiny for women in the modern world. But really, with that being basically shunned upon and shamed to an extent. Now, I remember this episode of Family Guy where the lady was telling Lois, oh, well, you suck. You're a terrible woman because you want to be a wife and a mother. And, even my own mother wanted to be a wife and a mother. It's nothing wrong with that, ladies. And instead of actually being encouraged to go down that route, they're like, no, girl, you can do anything. Go get them, girl. They made the WNBA that barely anybody watches. I'm being very, very fair with the barely thing. I mean, we every time there's a women's month or something along those lines, it's everybody's like, yeah, women. But ultimately, that's like saying, yeah, air, of course, Oh my goodness. Like, of course.
Simply put, I'm bored of being married to a paragon of virtue. Interesting, huh? To explain why her marriage has nonetheless lasted, she turned to a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in August. And this says that when one partner is conscientious, the coupling can actually work better if the other is less so. But they say, is Claire O'Reilly surfacing a broader issue about who women are drawn to? They say that other research has confirmed anecdotal reports that women tend to be less attracted to respectful men than to bad boys. But let me clarify this. It's not so simple as to say, like, respectful. Respectful, in my opinion, is submissive. It's agreeable.
Okay, what, Tim? Respectful is submissive? No, respectful is, having a modicum of, I guess, not diligence. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for, a modicum of, empathy? Or, I guess, sincerity? Like a bit of genuineness. He's like, respect is just being submissive. And are you sure they're a champ?
And that's, I think, is a better way to describe it. Look, you can be respectful to someone and be negative. In fact, I think if you lie to placate someone, you are not respecting them. Like, if I see a woman and she's carrying a bunch of bags, and I go, "Milady, how about I carry your bags for you?" That's not respect. Not in my opinion.
Why not? That's very gentlemanly of you. It's just being nice. I've done that. I was in Chicago and I was working on a campaign, and I was actually looking for this lady, and she was like on her way with her bag. So I was like, yeah, let me grab those up for you and walk with you and talk to you about this campaign. So, there's nothing wrong with being a gentleman. I mean, gentleman's in my channel title name. There's literally nothing wrong with that. But I think what Tim might be alluding to is that the expectation of some type of reward for it, and that's not it. It's a matter of just being nice. Being nice for the sake of being nice isn't a terrible thing. There's a lot of people, when you're nice to them, they take it as in, oh, well, what do you want from me? They automatically have their antennas up. But honestly, just being nice for the sake of being nice isn't a bad thing. That's kind of how we endear ourselves to other people. I remember I was in Colorado, and we were at this restaurant, and the waitress was just I was with a group of people, and the waitress was telling us about this bad interaction she had. And so a person like myself that does not pass the brown paper bag test. So yeah. So I made sure that I tipped her extra. It's not we as individuals are responsible for ourselves. And 9 times out of 10, if you can reach somebody at an individual or a human level, then that's the only way that we can really blow back a lot of the antagonism that we have going on these days.
The way I see it is, hey, you're an adult human. Carry your own bags. I respect your strength. You do it. I'm not here to lift heavy things for you. I'll open a pickle jar.
Tim Pool don't love these hoes, man. Tim Pool don't love these hoes. Bitch, get it yourself. No, but that's him being taking more of, I guess, the coming to it from an incel MGTOW route, as opposed to it's a lady, because at the end of the day, whether or not she respects biology opposed to gender or not, we still got to exist together, and we still got to work together, so if I see a lady that's having a hard time with the bags or anything else like that, and I care enough to stop, because sometimes she just comes across as a complete D-bag, and you know what? No, I'm not gonna help you out. But if it's just a lady struggling, it's a part of our DNA. It's part of our instinct. It's part of that thing. It's part of our biology. Gender isn't going to compel you to assist, but biology will.
I'll get the door if you need me to get the door, because it's a polite thing to do. But there's a difference between respect and like coddling. You know what I mean? If you're gonna make the assumption that someone is weak,
Whoa, so like getting a door for somebody is coddling? I mean, how do I put this? Because like the angle he's approaching this from is just like, I guess it is equal. Like he is coming to it. He is coming from a very equal playing field. Like I'm gonna treat you like I treat a dude. Problem is, she's not a dude, no matter how much she may think she is.
needs your help, that's not necessarily a sign of respect. So we can say it's not so much that you're a bad boy by being like, carry your own bags. It's just like regular people. You know, I've got...
See, as far as the whole bad boy thing goes, they just like confidence. That's it. Women just like confidence, and that's how, like, you know, you'll sit there and see some like weird looking dude with a bad chick, and that's because he had the confidence and was probably funny as hell. Because let me tell you something, I personally laughed the pants off of some ladies, okay? So, you know, like confidence is far more important when it comes to courting women than, damn, the only thing more important than your confidence is your bank account, fellas. Remember that.
I've talked to some like guy friends that are like nice guys that I've known in the past, and they have this mentality about how to treat women. I'm like, dude, why do you act like women and men are like to be treated as two different species? Look,
technically because we are, but secondly, I don't know. Like we got a lot of fatherless or people that grew up with fathers that were just weak and, you know, not just like, you know, Hal's from Malcolm in the Middle. You know, I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of Hal's out there, and it really screwed their sons up.
I get it, men and women are different, of course. But I know nice guys who are like, when they're hanging out with dudes, they have no problem getting drunk and making jokes. When they hang out with women, they're like, my lady, you're...
Really? Check your friends, my dude, because like I can't help but feel like he's being a little exaggeratory here, but they do. Yeah, you're gonna present yourself differently with, you know, the opposite sex. If you're trying to, I'm not trying to have sex with you, dude. Like having sex with you, my G, don't even cross my damn mind. Having sex with her, you know what? I'm gonna be like, look, I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? I'm good, but I'm not gonna kiss your ass. Plain and simple. Well, I mean, they probably that may be where the whole milady thing is coming from. Like they kind of kiss ass and like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna nah. You can't be like that. I mean, shoot, aggression and how to harness it and how to, you know, use it properly is something that fathers tend to, by hook or crook, you know, teach their sons. And with so many missing these days, with us going through about 3-4 generations now of women being told that they don't need their fathers around, then, you know, oh yeah, being raised in a house full of women is the exact same as having a stable father there to to guide you, because that's literally the parent's job. When you create a person, your job is to make sure that that person comes up to be a decent person themselves. That's it. You know, it's not a lot. No one's going to be perfect, but at least a good individual. And how you going to do that if you're not there, right? And how is the father going to do that if you don't pick a decent father and then stay with that decent father, you know?
Such a beautiful prize. And I'm like, that's just weird. That's just like, you know, I'll talk to a woman the exact same way I talk to a guy, for the most part, while recognizing...
Word? Really, Sam? I don't believe you. I just don't fucking believe you, my G. Deal is that we do not talk to the chicks that we try and get at. And that's the thing. Like, if we gonna be platonic, we gonna be platonic. But as soon as that chemistry hit, that energy is like, yo, you told me that, yeah, I fucks with you energy, then guess what? Boom, nah, you know, right? And even before that, you still cannot treat a female the same way you treat a dude. I'm thinking about this is like my third reference to this video. Like Scary Movie, where Anna Faris and the kid from 6 Degrees of Separation, Malcolm in the Middle, the guy that played the big brother in Malcolm in the Middle, the oldest brother in Malcolm in the Middle, where he was like, you know, treating her like a dude, throwing a football at her, punching her in the chest and stuff like that. And it's like, we're not the same thing. You cannot treat men and women the exact same. All right, come on, deal with it. Jesus.
Dude can likely open a pickle jar. You know what I mean? I'm not saying women can't open pickle jars. I'm joking. God, I'm gonna get all these people yelling at me. I can open a pickle jar. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's move on from this story. I want to highlight this. I looked up this woman's name. It's not a feminist article. You know, I get it. It's clickbaity to call it feminist. But the reason why I'm framing the story in a certain way is because I want to talk about the bigger issue beyond this one article. So I want to make sure that's clear, because I do intend to title this about like feminist women versus male feminists and like what they want. This story is an anecdote that plays into it. She never said feminists, but I'm assuming she likely is. I'm just trying to make sure that's...
You know what? At this point, I think I've covered enough of the video, and I'm not really interested in all the feminist nonsense. But I just wanted to go in on really just how this whole gender thing has really sunk its teeth into our society, and even the best-hearted people, the people with the best intentions, are just faltering. You know, I mean, this lady is so damn confused about, oh my goodness, I want my husband to cheat on me. Like, sweetie, like, oh my goodness, she just wants some excitement in life, man. As far as I'm concerned, get her a Slim Jim, my dude. Plain and simple. But that is what it is. And with that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end. All the internet stuff. Like it if you liked it or not. I'm not scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice. Share, because sharing is caring. Speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments, you know? This woman, like, if like, it's just like Ayesha Curry, right? Like, I mean, you got it all, but you're complaining because, you know, you yourself will never be content. Contentment is not a goal in which we should strive. Like, I know, pardon me, I know a portion of my audience is atheist, right? But I can't help but believe, no matter what you believe, what you think in, what you believe in, there's a reason we got this far, right? There's a natural order to things. There's only but one way we can replenish this earth as far as people are concerned. And so if you're a non-traditionalist, if you are a conservative, no matter what you are, right? That's how you got here. You know, the combined strengths of men and women coming together and working as a team, not wilding out in the manner in which we have. And that's part of the reason I'm not covering the feminist stuff. So, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. And until the next one.